and welcome to Ready, Set, Jets. Every week we take a deep dive into the most recent Jets press conferences and analyze every word, every pause, every hidden message. And for that, we turn to a 10-year NFL vet, former Jets quarterback, and analyst on Jets Late Night, Jay Fiedler. Jay, how you feeling today about what we saw in the press conferences?
Well, Steve, look, the team is 1-3 right now, and but you haven't seen the team get down on themselves. I think there's still confidence in the locker room, so that's a positive thing going forward.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, at 1-3 right now, they've shown a lot of fight in coming back and nearly beating the defending Super Bowl champions. But now they turn their attention to Denver. Coach Saleh was asked if, after 3 straight losses, the sense of urgency grows.
This sense of urgency to win in this league and to do your best and all that stuff is always at peak levels every week. You never want to make one bigger than the other, because that's where you get inconsistency in play. But this is no different. We're traveling we're going to a Denver team that just came off a big win, and they're feeling really good about themselves, and they're probably looking at their schedule and thinking, hey, we got a chance to get right. So the sense of urgency should always be the same to me. It should always be as high as possible. And if your urgency is changing based on circumstance, you already lost.
Jay, I got to be honest with you. I mean, it seems like Coach Saleh has been consistent in his message about consistency, because I remember last year when they pulled off this miraculous comeback against the Browns, he preached against overconfidence after that game. But the flip side of that is, I mean, there are some games that have to feel bigger and some games that don't quite have as much juice. So how do you try to regulate your emotions, or do you even want to feed off of that in any way?
Well, I think sometimes you do want to feed off of that, and look, like you said, it's human nature for everyone to look at the schedule, look at the opponent, and get up a little bit more for one opponent as opposed to another, whether it's, some motivation from locker room talk, whether it's, a division rival that you face, a couple times a year. You certainly, get up a little bit more for that. But it's the coach's job to bring the team back to consistent levels. And, each week he's got to find something to motivate his team to focus a little bit more. Coming off the loss, they're 1-3 right now. That's certainly motivation for this team to stay focused and get up, even though, they're playing against the Denver team that's also 1-3 that, has had their struggles early on this week. But I'm sure Coach Saleh, like he said, is going to preach, hey, Denver won last week. They're on a high. They're coming after you. They're looking at us as a team that they could go and get to 2-3 on. So, we got to stay as focused as possible to go out and beat them.
Well, we were hoping that we would see a step forward from Zach Wilson in this last game, and he really did. I mean, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 71% completion percentage. So Coach was asked about Wilson's growth.
The mental aspect of it it's hard for a quarterback, especially coming from this new age college and high school, not to throw shade at those systems, but it's different, because you can't get away with some of the stuff that you get away with coming up from high school and college, coming into this league. And he's doing a great job. It's not like this is the first time he's ever played a good game. For him, it's just not, let's go stack it up. Just carry that confidence over and trust your teammates, because a lot of the stuff he did on Sunday night was trusting his teammates with those back shoulder throws and being aggressive with his ball placement.
I mean, look, you work with that level, that high school to college level athlete. I mean, but Saleh's confidence in Zach Wilson was certainly proven well-deserved after this last game. So the question is, could his performance in a loss be a springboard for the rest of the season?
Well, it can. It depends on Zach Wilson. It really depends on how he reacts to how he played. You don't want to get to a point where, hey, I had a great game and now now I'm feeling great and I don't have to do any more work. The work is constant for a quarterback. You're always looking to get better. And even when you play well and even in your wins, you want to go back and self-scout yourself and say, hey, what did I do right here? What did I do wrong? What could I correct? What could I get better? And I think he's got to carry that with him, through everything. I looked at the film last week and even on his best drive, that drive coming out in the second half, there were a couple things I saw, just with his eyes, looking at the defense, reading the defense, that he could have done a little bit better. He has great arm talent, was able to put the ball exactly in the right places, but he could have helped himself a little bit more, with dictating to the defense.
Well, that would seem consistent with the rest of the Jets, who are clearly looking at the man in the mirror week in and week out. Denver, though, has a critical meeting for Breece Hall. It was a turning point in the season last year, but hear how he has a chance to show how far he's come. That's next on Ready, Set, Jets. The Jets players could have had plenty of things to talk about this week. I mean, the refs making ticky-tack calls on Sauce, Zach fumbling in the fourth quarter. But every player is looking in the mirror at what they can do better. Even after an explosive 43-yard run, Breece Hall believes he can do more.
That play right there, that's like a game-changing play. I take pride in that. So, after the game, I was really frustrated, beat myself up about that because, running backs were like human erasers and game changers. So, I felt like if I score a touchdown there, it kind of changes the whole momentum of the game. So, with that, it just shows like how much I really care, how much I really want to make an impact.
I mean, he already has runs of 83 yards and a 43 yards so far this year. So what does that say about his mindset, that he's looking at those big runs as missed opportunities?
Well, yeah, I think every player looks in the mirror and sees, goes back through the game and says, where can I do a little bit better? And, certainly Breece, 43 run, the 43 yards was really, mostly up front that, he got there, and he had an opportunity against the free safety, to turn that from 43 into 80 something, there. And I think that's what is kind of upsetting to him a little bit. He had an open field chance to make the safety miss. And, I think what happened is he was a little bit too fast. Tyler Conklin was downfield and ready to make that block. And Breece Hall ran right past Tyler Conklin, didn't even let him set it up. I'm not sure if he saw him coming or was just trying to make that play on the safety at the time. But we all know that Breece Hall has got plenty of jets in his legs, and you could see that coming back to him. Coming off the injury.
Man, I don't know. Maybe Conklin tripped on one of the hash marks. I don't know if somebody shouted something at him. I mean, it scared him, but still, he couldn't stay upright. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be an important week for Breece because it's his return to Denver, a big location for Hall, and really important for him to get the okay to push his season further. We're going to hear from Coach Saleh on why now is the time to lift the pitch count. This is Ready, Set, Jets. All right, last year, Breece Hall's season turned in Denver because that's where he suffered an ACL tear. A year later, he returns to the scene of the crime with a healthy knee. And Coach Saleh says now is the time to let him loose.
There is no pitch count with him anymore. We'd love to get him going. He's been working hard. I will say this, he ran violently last week in practice, and I felt like it carried over in the game. And you can tell he's starting to get his legs underneath him. Even though he's had production, he still hasn't reached where we know what he's capable of and what he's shown in the past.
Yeah, we know what he is capable of. He was in on 22 snaps last week, and they say his GPS speed has increased every week. So is this the right time to unleash Breece?
Yeah, I think it certainly is. Look, when you're an offensive play caller, you want to get the ball in your best player's hands as much as possible. And, certainly Breece Hall is one of the best players and one of the best playmakers that they have on the offensive side to go along with Garrett Wilson on the outside. So, certainly you want to get him the ball as much as possible. And, you add the fact that, when they have given him breaks, Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter have come in and they haven't really made their big impact yet either. So certainly Breece Hall is the guy who's making the big plays. He has the two breakaway runs this season, 83 yards, 43 yards last week, and you want to see a little bit more of that in the offense. So you want to give Breece Hall the ball as much as possible.
Yeah, I think you really hit a great point there. Dalvin Cook is only averaging 2.8 yards per carry. We expected him to be a bigger part of this offense, especially waiting for Breece to get up to this level. But at this point right now, you have to get the ball in the hands of your playmaker as much as possible, especially this week when Nathaniel Hackett might be looking to maybe stick it to the Broncos a little bit, or at least Sean Payton.
Yeah, so there's certainly some motivation on the coach's side this week with what Sean Payton said about Nathaniel Hackett out in Denver. And I'm certainly sure that Hackett's got a little bit up his sleeve, to try and stick it to him out there.
Yeah, well, we will find out on Sunday because that is the game. And Jay, by the way, is going to be with me in studio on Sunday as we're going to take you through the big Jets-Broncos game on Jets Late Night. Jay's going to be breaking down a couple of the biggest plays from the game, while Otis Livingston will be in Denver getting interviews with the players following the game. Jets Late Night, Sunday after the late news on CBS 2 and CBS News New York. And don't forget, you can see that game Sunday afternoon at 4:25 on CBS 2. And we'll be here every week breaking down the hidden meanings of the press conferences on Ready, Set, Jets.